Hello and welcome to Prayer of the First Light. If you want to start each day with words that transform your life and bring you closer to God, this is the right place. Just subscribe to the channel now, activate the notification bell, and walk with us on this journey of faith and inspiration. There was a man named Nathaniel. He lived in a small town where the days always seemed the same, and time had the strange habit of repeating the same pains. On the outside, his life was normal. Work, bills, routine, but inside, he carried a silent war. His mind was a battlefield where dark thoughts waged war against hope. Every morning, he woke up with the feeling of being trapped in an invisible cycle, as if something inside him sabotaged every attempt to be happy. And the cruelest part was that no one saw it. No one realized that behind the polite smile, there was a man tired of overthinking. It was as if his own mind had become a prison, and he, the prisoner. Until one day, while wandering aimlessly through the city, Nathaniel entered an old bookstore. There, among dusty shelves, he found a small blue-covered book with an almost faded title, Words of Life. Upon opening it, his eyes fell upon a phrase that seemed to scream within him, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. In that instant, something inside him broke, not in destruction, but in revelation. He realized he had spent his life believing lies about himself, that he wasn't enough, that nothing would change, that peace was an unattainable luxury. But what if the prison wasn't outside, but inside his own mind? This question haunted him for days until it became a seed of transformation. Nathaniel began to observe his thoughts like someone watching a minefield. Each time guilt whispered, he responded with faith. When fear called to him, he breathed and remembered, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." Nehemiah 8:10. Gradually, the chaos within him lost its power. It was as if God were redrawing the map of his mind, replacing labyrinths with paths. He realized that changing his mindset wasn't about denying pain, but about choosing not to live in it. That freedom wasn't the absence of problems, but the presence of purpose. One morning, watching the sunrise reflected in the city windows, Nathaniel smiled for no apparent reason. And he understood, for the first time, that happiness doesn't reside in things that change, but in what remains. He had discovered that God didn't need to alter the world around him. It was enough to illuminate the world within him. The war still existed, but now he knew how to fight with the right weapon, the truth. Because whoever learns to think like heaven never again lives as if they were in hell. And in that golden morning silence, he murmured with gratitude, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Isaiah 26:3. There is a type of happiness that the world tries to sell in shop windows, disguised as fleeting laughter, momentary achievements, and empty applause. But there is another, silent, profound, and unwavering, that is born within the soul when the heart rests in God. This happiness does not depend on circumstances, does not change with the seasons of life, and does not disappear with pain. It is a peace that needs no audience because it is sustained by the divine presence. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Nehemiah 8:10. The world has taught us that being happy means having everything under control, but the secret lies precisely in surrendering control. True happiness flourishes when we stop fighting against life and begin to trust in the one who created it. It is the moment we release the weight of expectations and surrender to purpose that the heart is freed. Happiness is not about possessing everything. It's about being whole, even when something is lacking. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. There are people who seem to have everything, success, money, recognition, and yet live with an emptiness that luxury cannot fill. This happens because the human heart was created to hold God, and nothing less than Him can complete it. The soul only finds rest when it returns to the source from which it came. Happiness is not in collecting victories, but in remaining at peace even amidst losses. Return to your rest, my soul, for the Lord has been good to you. Psalm 116:7. Contentment is a spiritual art. It is not denying pain, but learning to smile even in the midst of it. It is the gift of being grateful for the little while waiting for much. The Apostle Paul learned to be content in every situation, and this wisdom transforms lives to this day. When we stop complaining about what is lacking, we begin to see what remains: grace, air, life, and faith. I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. Philippians 4:11. Being happy is not living without problems. It's about not allowing problems to live inside us. God never promised a road without thorns, but He promised to walk with us every step of the way. True joy comes when we look up instead of looking at the chaos. When the soul learns to trust, fear is silenced. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23:4. The secret to happiness lies in gratitude. Those who are grateful transform deserts into gardens and tears into seeds of faith. Gratitude takes us away from the painful past and the frightening future and places us in the present where God truly dwells. Each new dawn is a reminder that there is still purpose. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Many seek joy in social media, in crowds, in parties, but true joy dwells in the silence of a peaceful heart. It is discreet, simple, and pure. It doesn't need applause because it comes from love. When you learn to listen to God in silence, the noise of the world no longer commands you. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Happiness is not a destination. It is a state of mind. It begins when we stop chasing after things and begin to dwell in the present moment. It is in the present that God reveals Himself, and it is there that joy flourishes. Those who wait for the future to be happy forget that the miracle is in today. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118:24. God doesn't need to change what you experience to change what you feel. Sometimes the miracle isn't in taking away the pain, but in teaching you to dance with it. Happiness is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of faith. When the heart learns to trust, it finds rest. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Isaiah 26:3. The world will say, you need more. God will say, you already have enough. And it is in this contrast that wisdom is born. Those who understand this begin to see richness in the details, miracles in routine, and beauty even in pauses. A satisfied soul is a treasure that time cannot steal. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Being happy is knowing how to rest your heart in the midst of the storm. It is having faith when the wind blows against you and logic makes no sense. True joy is not shouting victory, it is whispering hope even when no one understands. The soul that trusts in God learns to smile for no reason, because the reason is in Him. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. Psalm 125. And Dahan, how many times have you waited for something to change to finally feel peace? But peace doesn't come from the outside. It begins when you change from within. The secret to happiness lies in understanding that it's not what we have that makes us complete, but who we are before God. It's a state of soul that the world cannot buy. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts. Philippians 4:7. The enemy of happiness is comparison. When you look too much at the lives of others, you forget the grace that is already in yours. Each story is written by different hands, and God's rhythm is never late. Happiness is trusting in divine timing and letting Him bring forth what needs to flourish. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. A weary soul seeks distractions, but an awakened spirit seeks direction. God doesn't just want to make you smile, He wants to make you whole. When you understand that being happy is being aligned with His purpose, even pain gains meaning. For we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. True happiness is simple. It dwells in small gestures, in a hug, in a sunrise, in a sincere thank you. The world complicates what is divine, but God reveals His joy in the things that the ego despises. The humble soul sees miracles where pride only sees routine. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. You don't need to pretend everything is all right to be happy. The happiness that comes from God is sincere. It coexists with tears, but never loses hope. It is possible to cry and still have peace because His presence is comfort. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Psalm 126:5. The world calls luck what God calls purpose. Sometimes the difficult path is what brings us closest to true happiness, because it is in our falls that we learn to depend on unfailing love. And when we realize that He has never left us, our hearts become grateful. Though I fall, I will not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholds me with His hand. Psalm 37:24. Happiness is not about always winning, but about learning from each loss. It is in the soil of pain that God plants wisdom. Those who surrender to the lesson discover that suffering can also be sacred. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. You don't need to understand everything, just trust. The mind seeks answers, but the heart finds rest when it leans on God. Happiness is walking by faith and not by sight. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. The peace the world offers is fragile, but the peace God gives is eternal. It doesn't depend on the weather, mood, or bank balance. It's an invisible anchor that keeps the heart firm even when everything around it is shifting. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. John 14:27. Happiness is not a prize to be won. It's an inheritance received when the heart opens to love. Love is the language of heaven, and whoever learns to speak it finds joy where hatred cannot reach. Love is patient, love is kind. 1 Corinthians 13:4. The world teaches us to run, God teaches us to stay. While some seek excitement, the children of God seek purpose. True joy is stable. It doesn't need a stage, only presence. Abide in me and I in you. John 15:4. The forgiving heart finds rest. Holding grudges is living imprisoned in the past, but whoever forgives is set free. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the gate to happiness. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Luke 6:37. There are times when God's silence is the greatest act of love. He teaches us patience, maturity, and faith. While we wait, He works. And when the answer comes, we understand that every delay had a purpose. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. Being happy is walking lightly, even carrying crosses. It's looking to the sky and remembering that pain is not the end. It's part of the journey. Those who walk with Christ learn to transform burdens into purpose. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Matthew 16:24. Happiness is also manifested in obedience. Sometimes saying yes to God is saying no to the world, and that requires courage. But the obedient heart reaps eternal fruits. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. Isaiah 1:19. Those who live by appearances live weary lives. Genuine joy is invisible to the eyes, but perceptible through peace. It is the lightness of one who needs to prove nothing because they know whose child they are. See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. 1 John 3:1. The world calls weakness what God calls humility, and it is precisely in humility that he pours out his strength. When I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12:10. Happiness grows when we stop asking for what we want and begin to want what God asks. A heart aligned with the divine will is not frustrated, it only flourishes. Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Matthew 6:10. God's plans are better than our dreams. Sometimes he changes the path not to punish us, but to protect us. And when time passes, we understand that it was love. For I know the plans I have for you. Jeremiah 29:11. True joy is born when we stop trying to control tomorrow. Living one day at a time is living in the rhythm of grace. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. Happiness doesn't reside in what passes, but in what remains. Everything eternal comes from God, and everything from him brings peace. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24:35. Happiness is seeing God in the details, in a friend's smile, in the calming wind, in the hope that never dies. He speaks through simplicity. The heavens declare the glory of God. Psalm 19:1. Those who seek God find joy even in trials, because they understand that every struggle is a field where faith flourishes. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. James 1:2. The soul that serves is happier than the one that only receives. When you give of yourself, love circulates and emptiness is filled. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35. The most beautiful smile is the one that springs from a healed heart. God exchanges wounds for faith and sorrows for purpose. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Happiness is not the absence of storms, but the certainty of shelter. Even when everything collapses, God remains a refuge. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. When God's love dwells within us, there is no room for fear. The soul becomes free and the heart learns to rest. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:18. Happiness grows in the soul that prays. Whoever converses with God learns to hear the silence with peace. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Faith is the soil where joy flourishes. Without faith the heart dries up. With faith even the desert has life. The righteous will live by faith. Hebrews 10:38. True happiness is a fruit of the Spirit. It cannot be bought, it is cultivated. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace. Galatians 5:22. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Matthew 6:33. Joy is a form of worship. When you choose to smile even in the midst of pain, heaven smiles with you. Rejoice in the Lord always. Philippians 4:4. A peaceful soul needs no explanation because it feels God in the unseen. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. The happiness that the world does not understand is the one that heaven grants in silence. It is the living testimony of the divine presence. The Lord will bless you and keep you. Numbers 6:24. Even if everything changes, God remains. And it is this constancy that sustains true joy. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. Hope is the breath of happiness. When it lives, despair dies. Rejoice in hope. Romans 12:12. Those who choose to trust find rest, and those who rest in God discover what it means to live lightly. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. The secret to happiness is walking with God, one step at a time, even without seeing the destination. He guides, protects, and provides. Your word is a lamp to my feet. Psalm 119:105. The happiness that the world doesn't understand is the same that heaven calls peace. It is the reflection of a trusting soul, a resting mind, and a loving heart. I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. Philippians 4. True peace doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the presence of faith. When the soul decides to trust in God, even chaos transforms into learning. There is a silent power in believing that everything works together for good, even when we don't understand why. Hope is the fuel for souls that don't give up, and faith is the map that guides them. When the mind rests in God, the heart learns to smile, even amidst pain. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. There are days when everything seems to collapse, but it is on those days that God builds invisible foundations. He uses the wind of pain to scatter seeds of growth. What seems like loss today will be a testimony tomorrow. When we trust, the storm frightens us and begins to mold us. God doesn't remove the struggle, but strengthens the knees that pray. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken, but endures forever. Psalm 125. When happiness is not a destination, it's a path walked with purpose. Each step taken towards God reveals a new horizon of peace. We don't need to understand the future, only walk with faith in the present. He opens doors that human eyes cannot see and sustains dreams that are worth dying for. When the soul surrenders, the impossible becomes commonplace. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37:5. God doesn't promise days without pain, but He guarantees comfort in every tear. He transforms discouragement into strength and fear into courage. It is in the silence of prayer that He speaks loudest. The heart that learns to wait on God never returns empty. Everything placed in His hands flourishes in due time. Those who sow in tears will reap with joy. Psalm 126:5. Life is enriched when we learn to be grateful even for what we don't understand. Gratitude is the language of heaven, and whoever speaks this language attracts miracles. When we look upwards, the weight of the earth becomes light. Faith changes the focus. It teaches that even waiting has a purpose. Nothing is in vain when God is the one writing the story. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. There is strength in continuing when everything tells you to stop. Tiredness is not the end. It's a sign that you are going beyond what you imagined. God renews those who don't give up. He breathes new life into weary hearts. When we think it's the end, He whispers, "I'm still here." A new beginning is born from faith in a God who never abandons, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. God's love is the antidote to despair. He embraces wounds the world ignores and heals pains no one sees. When we let this love in, everything changes. Our perspective, our way of living, our way of feeling. He doesn't demand perfection, only sincere surrender, and in that surrender we find freedom. Perfect love casts out fear. 1 John 4:18. There are blessings that only flourish in the desert. It is when everything dries up around us that God shows that it is possible to make life sprout where no one believes. Hope doesn't depend on circumstances, but on trust in the one who guides the way. If he allowed the desert, it's because there's a promise ahead. In the desert I will make rivers flow. Isaiah 43:19. The soul finds peace when it relinquishes control and accepts the flow of God's will. God is never late, he prepares. Every delay is an adjustment, every wait is a care. When time seems to stand still, it's because heaven is working silently. Patience is the bridge between the request and the miracle. There is a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. True happiness is knowing that we never walk alone. Even when everything collapses, God remains steadfast by our side. He doesn't promise an easy path, but guarantees constant companionship. The peace that comes from him doesn't depend on what happens outside, but on what lives within. When the heart is anchored in God, no storm can bring it down. The Lord is my rock and my fortress. Psalm 18:2. When the world seems to crumble, God doesn't rebuild the walls, he rebuilds you. He doesn't promise a road without stones, but offers firm feet to cross it. The broken heart is the altar where he reveals the power of restoration. Every pain born with faith becomes a stepping stone to maturity. Yesterday's despair can become tomorrow's testimony. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. Many times we ask God to change our circumstances, but he prefers to change our inner selves. He doesn't remove the desert, but sends manna into its midst. When it seems that everything is over, heaven prepares something new, silent, but full of purpose. Waiting ceases to be loss and becomes training. God's timing is never late, it only matures what is not yet ready. There is a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. God transforms tears into lessons and wounds into paths of wisdom. He writes stories of victory with lines crooked in human eyes. Faith is the paintbrush, and time, the canvas where he reveals the beauty of perseverance. What seems to take time is only God adjusting the scene for the miracle to happen. No delay is accidental when the author is eternal. All things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. When you don't understand why things happen, remember, faith doesn't live on answers, but on trust. God doesn't explain all the winds, but he guarantees that none of them blow in vain. Every loss, every silence, every wait carries a divine lesson. The secret is to continue even when the path doesn't reveal itself entirely. The invisible is the space where the impossible happens. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Life with God is made of new beginnings. He transforms falls into bridges and failures into new directions. What seemed like the end becomes the beginning of a new journey, lighter and full of meaning. Repentance opens doors that pride had locked. Divine love is the only thing capable of transforming ashes into hope. Behold, I make all things new. Revelation 21. God does not call us to a life without challenges, but to a faith that overcomes the impossible. He teaches us that pain shapes, time teaches, and faith sustains. It is in the valley that we learn to look upwards. Adversity does not destroy. It only reveals where our foundation lies. And when he is the center, nothing can shake it. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken. Psalm 125. True strength lies not in never falling, but in rising each time with a wiser heart. God doesn't want you to win everything at once. He wants to walk with you every step of the way. The process is the stage for transformation. Faith grows when tested, and love flourishes when put to the test. Even when everything seems dark, He is still the light. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Psalm 27. Every tear is a plea that God understands without words. Every silence is a prayer He hears, even when no one else notices. He transforms loneliness into encounter and fear into trust. When the heart surrenders, the impossible happens in silence. True happiness is not in the absence of pain, but in the constant presence of God. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Eldunslevin prayer, Lord. In this silence that speaks louder than words, I take a deep breath and let your presence envelop me. I know I am not alone, even when my heart feels heavy. You are the calm amidst the chaos. You are the gentle voice that reminds me there is still hope. God. Sometimes my mind becomes a battlefield. Thoughts push me away from your peace. But today, I choose to listen to your voice, which does not shout, but whispers eternal truths, transforming fear into confidence. Renew, Lord, the thoughts that paralyze me. Cleanse the dust of doubt that covers my faith. Plant seeds of hope in me and make the courage sprout that only your love can generate. Teach me to think with heaven, to see the world with the eyes of your promise, and to feel with your heart, for I know that what dwells in the mind flourishes in life, and I want to flourish in you. May each painful memory become a garden of learning. May each fallen tear water new joys. May every silence become a prayer, and may my heart learn to rest in your will. Free me from the invisible prisons of the mind. Break down the walls of worry, and teach me to trust even when I don't understand, because I know that your timing is perfect, and your promise never fails. When fear speaks loudly, Lord, may your voice be stronger. May your love cast out all fear, and may I remember that I am yours, and no evil can separate me from your care. Give me wisdom to choose faith every day, to silence the voices of doubt, and nourish the thoughts that bring life, light, and peace. May my mind become the dwelling place of your spirit. Transform my way of thinking so that I may see purpose in pain, hope in the desert, and learning in my falls, because I know that even silence carries your voice. Make me understand that true joy is not in what happens, but in what dwells within. And when you are here, I lack nothing, because your presence is sufficient. Teach me to adjust the sails when the wind changes, not to fear the storms, but to trust that you are in control, guiding my boat with love and wisdom. Calm my inner self, Lord. May each breath be a surrender, may each pause be an encounter with you, and may your love teach me to live lightly, even amidst uncertainties. Forgive, Lord, the thoughts that have distanced me from your peace, and teach me to forgive those who have hurt me. May forgiveness clear the path, and may my soul breathe relief once more. Today, I surrender my mind, my heart, and my future to you. Renew my being completely. May what is old depart, and the new be born within me, according to your will, according to your love. And finally, Lord, I rest in you. I breathe your presence and let your silence heal me, because I know that what you plant flourishes, and what begins in you never ends in loss. Amen. If this prayer touched your heart, write Amen in the comments. Share this video with someone you love, and click the like button to help us bring this message to more people. Subscribe now to the Prayer of the First Light channel.